Well, hello Instagrammers, this is me. Welcome to Retro Direction, and it's Michael here with a couple of reviews for you. And I know I haven't done it for a while, which is why I figured it's best to start doing a few bits and pieces now before I lose my touch. I don't even know if I got it, but there you go. Look, we're going to try our best here. Anyway, as promised on my Instagram page, I was going to review these games that I found, and I know I'm on my Explorer page at the moment, but I'm doing it for a reason. Now, the first game out of the two or three I'll be reviewing today is it's one by Banpresto, and it's called Megatudo 2096. Now, we're going to choose Infinite Health Cheat for the purposes of the video. It's just because it's not an easy game to play, even if you put it on easy mode. It's quite easy to get blasted. So we're going to do that now. Well, not get blasted, hopefully, but give you a decent enough review. Yes, I know you can see my reflection there. I'm just waving. But there you have it. Now, first of all, Megatudo, released in 1996. And now, you know, when you get a game by Banpresto, you're in for a treat, because Banpresto never disappoint. They do make very good games indeed, mainly along the action variety, such as fighting and shooting. So it's not bad, and we won't bother with intros, take too long, but we'll try and jump straight into the game. Now, first of all,
Megatudo 2096.
Yeah, exactly. There's not an awful lot to it. You've got story mode, versus mode, which is for 2 players, and your option screen, which we'll just visit quickly now, just to make sure that we've got all the settings that we want. So we'll play it on normal. Yeah, we'll do that. Usual, that's no problem. So out we come. And we'll be playing story mode. Now, first of all, for those of you that are not Sega Saturn owners, well, let's take ourselves back to 96. Let's assume that you own a PlayStation only, and you think, oh, you know what, I really like that game on the Saturn called Virtual On. I wish there's something like that on the PlayStation. Well, lo and behold, there is, and this is it. Now let's see, what can we choose? Now, of course, there is a variety of mechs that you can choose, each with their own, well, I was going to say strengths and weaknesses, but they are pretty similar, and they all play in exactly the same way. There isn't really any difference between them, with the exception of the weapons that they have. Now, each mech has 2 weapons, a long-distance firearm and an up-close and personal melee weapon, which is mainly in the form of a sword. Now, you usually circle each opponent. R1 circles to his left and R2 to his right. Now, the square button fires your long distance weapon. If you press circle, you switch to your melee weapon, and you strike with square, and you can strike with triangle. Now, there isn't a great variety of moves, as you can see. And the arenas aren't, they're not terrible. I'd say they're basic. Now, the graphics themselves are quite, they're quite polished. I mean, the mechs look pretty good. There's some good shading there, some good light sourcing. And overall, it's not really bad at all. Anyway, I'm not going to play through the whole thing, because I've got a couple that I'd like to share with you this evening.
Final. Ready, go.
Now, most of the opponents are of the humanoid variety, with the exception of this guy, who's got a head like the alien from Alien. Let's go up close to him and slash him with my sword. Now, it's not an easy game as well. Even if you play it in easy, it's not easy. It's actually quite difficult to have one up on your opponent. You've got to keep circling. Now X, if you hold X, you block. And that's pretty much all there is to it, really. Unfortunately, it isn't really a game that you're going to keep going back to. Once you've finished it, that's it. You'll have a bit of fun if you have you know, a friend round or something. You can have a bit of two-player, but it's quite short-lived. There isn't any depth to it. I don't think there are any unlocks either. You can't really unlock any particular characters. That's pretty much it. So that's Megatudo. Now, the thing about this game is that it's rare. So if you're a collector, it's not going to be very easy to find. In fact, to be honest with you, I didn't even know about this game. I saw it on a friend's website, and he sent me a WhatsApp message, and he said, I've got a few things from Japan that I've brought back. And I saw a couple of games, and two of which I'm going to review for you tonight. Now, Megatudo is unfortunately what it is, and that's all it is. There isn't anything there, really. But I will show you the other one. Now, the other one is actually more interesting. It's called Slam Dragon, and it's a one-on-one fighting game. Yes, I know I'm sort of changing games in real time here, but the last time I paused my phone when I tried to do this, the videos didn't come out, and I posted something up on YouTube which was about 30 seconds long. So something happened along the way there. But anyway, I'll put Slam Dragon on for you now, and that's a more interesting one. And yes, unfortunately, I say unfortunately lightly actually, I'm thinking brilliant, I'm going to actually do it this way. So there's no unfortunately about it. Now, again, for the purposes of the review, I'm going to put a cheat on for infinite health, because believe it or not, even Slam Dragon is actually quite bloody hard. And here it is. So, yes, the Explorer screen. For those of you that have one, you know how difficult they are to find, and it's a very useful little tool to have. Very reliable, and you can still find cheats on the internet that can work with the Explorer. Even Action Replay Codes and Game Shark, I think even Game Genie as well, they work with Explorer too. But anyway, let's start this game up and give you a taste. There's me again, look, waving. It's my little man cave here. So, now, Slam Dragon is a fighting game by Jaleco. And they're not bad. I do like that little logo announcement there. Jaleco are not bad. Now, the very first game I played by Jaleco was, if I'm not mistaken, it was on the Super Nintendo. It was called Tough Enough. Anyway, yes, it's unfortunate the name you're seeing on the screen there, but it is the name of one of the fighters. I didn't put it up there to call anybody who's watching names. There really is a fighter on there called Dick. Well, it's short for Richard, so there you go. Anyway, let's go to options just briefly. Let's put it on to level 2. 1 match point will do. And we're going to exit. Now, there are several characters you can choose from. I think there's about 8. And there's one that you unlock when you finish the game. He's the last boss. He's a bit like, if you play Virtua Fighter, when you unlock Dural, she's got a good few moves from every single fighter. So she's very versatile. Now I'm going to choose Eric. Now the reason why I'm choosing Eric is because he fights like Bruce Lee does. He uses Jeet Kune Do, and he's got the same stances, the same battle cries, and the same taunts. He's pretty much a Bruce Lee fan. So he fights well, hits hard, and he's got a good variety of moves at his disposal. Now, as you can see, the graphics are rendered. So it's interesting here. We're fighting somebody that likes to emulate Bruce Lee, and another one that fights like Jackie Chan. Look at that. Now, as you can see, the graphics are not terrible. They are rendered. You could say this is kind of I don't know, an inferior version of Killer Instinct. They clearly wanted to use that graphical style. And I got him. Now the time has gone down to 0, so I've won. Now this one I sort of jumped at the chance. Now it's on the same friend's page that when he WhatsApped me I saw this on here as well, and I thought I got to have that. And again, this is another game I didn't know about, which is quite strange for me, because when it comes to fighting games and any decent action games of any sort, I'm not going to miss a trick. I don't usually. So I actually faltered. 2 games I missed that I didn't know about. So I thought, okay, is this old age catching up with me? Am I losing my edge? But anyway, let's play through a little bit more of this. Now, there aren't a great amount of moves listed in the instruction manual. There's just a handful. But I think this game does have some hidden depths. Now there's also a rage move, because as you can see, underneath the main health bar there's another bar that fills up as you take damage. Now circle blocks here. And there are taunts. Let's see if I can get his taunt. That's one of them. I think when I fought against him, he came out with another taunt. It said, "Kick me!" Like Bruce Lee says in Enter the Dragon. Or does he say, "Attack me"? Yeah, I don't remember now. But anyway, he wanted to kick him, basically. Basically so he can kick you. But as you can see, there are some pretty good moves. We know that multiple kick move there, that's Bruce Lee's from Enter the Dragon. Not Enter the Dragon. Well, yes, he does use it there. But it's more famous in The Way of the Dragon, when he fights against Chuck Norris. And then you get this little outro here, this rendered outro. So, yeah, I wouldn't say it's terrible. The backgrounds are also 3D. So they're not flat scaling 2D backdrops, they are actually 3D backgrounds. So, okay, now, the only criticism I've got of the game, really, besides being over too soon, and you probably won't come back to it too often. I mean, you might want to try and master a few of the other ones. But it's a little bit clunky. It's not sort of very responsive. It's a bit sort of draggy. Sometimes the characters move like they're wading through treacle. And when you're fighting against somebody, if he happens to jump over you, you can't turn around quickly enough, because he starts kicking the crap out of you and you don't have a chance to turn around. So before you know it, your health bar is drained. Now this guy's very powerful. He's quite a big dick, isn't he? but you can knock him down. Oh yes, look at that. So you can do a good deal of damage. I mean, you can do some good combinations. It's not a terrible game. So there you have it. That's Slam Dragon for you there. I actually quite like it. Now, we all know that when these games were first released, they did go up against some heavy criticisms. I mean, we're talking about 1996 here, both games, and we know what was around in 96. We had the original Tekken. I think maybe even Tekken 2 was out then. So we had, let's say, the Tekken powerhouse. We had Ridge Racer. We had Virtua Fighter 2. We had all the big guns. So when these games came out, you know, people just slated them. Reviewers slated them, thinking, yeah, not bad, 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10, but it's no Virtua Fighter, it's no Tekken. But the thing is, I believe that what was overlooked greatly is that when these titles come out, they're never, I don't think they intend to be like Tekken or Virtua Fighter. I think they just intend to be what they are, Slam Dragon. Yeah, it's got rendered graphics like Killer Instinct, but I don't even think it's trying to be Killer Instinct. You see what I mean about turning round? You see, it took me a long time there, and if she'd have been near me, she'd have got me a few times before I could actually turn to face her. Oh, I felt that. Can you hear that breaking of bones? And of course, the funny thing is, they topple over as soon as the timer reaches 0. So even if they kick the crap out of you, they still lose because of the timer. That's really funny. But yeah, I think, you know, we've got to sort of take these games as games in their own right. And that's what I tended to do when I was... you could say I started to collect when I first bought the PlayStation and the Saturn. I just wanted to collect all sorts of games that I enjoyed playing. And I didn't always take notice of what reviews said. I used to buy heaps of magazines. I mean, I remember all of the magazines I had, all different types of ones. I bought very few Games Masters, but Mean Machine, Sega, Edge, and Maximum were the main ones that I actually bought. I think a few others here and there. Yeah, but CBG was, I think, the main one. Sega Saturn magazine, of course. Love that one. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Oh, uh-oh. Here's the rage move. Now that does take a hell of a lot of health from you. There you go. Now, again, he got me while I had my back to him. There you go. And it takes a few seconds, a couple of seconds to turn round. Oh, of course, this rage attack is not easily blockable. Now, blocking is done in the circle there. But anyway, that's pretty much it. This is Slam Dragon. Now, I'm going to review another one for you. Now, this one's quite close to my heart. Now, a little story about this one, which, again, I will change in real time. I'll show you the box to this one. Tokyo Highway Battle. Now, when I saw this one, I bought it on eBay, and I was surprised at how expensive it was. Apparently, it's actually very rare to find, and there weren't very many of them on there. And I found one guy who was selling it for 30. Oh, what was he selling it for? £36, I think. And it was the cheapest up there at the time. And I offered him 25, but he countered me with 30, which was I'm more than happy to accept. So I did. I bought it with my eyes shut, this one, because I'll tell you a story about this one. When Tokyo Highway Battle first came out, I read a review of it, and I started to really love driving games at that time. And I rented it out from a local video store at the time, and I said, yeah, I quite like this. I think I'm going to buy this. And again, we're talking 96 here, and I didn't. For some reason, I just didn't buy it. And I've had this game for less than a month. I bought it in December, and you know, I thought, yeah, I just have to have it. Now, as I've mentioned on my Instagram page, I love Japan. I love the Japanese, and it's kind of a dream one day to go and visit Tokyo. I just love the culture. I love the people. I love Tokyo when it's lit up at night. It's just, and Japanese culture, a lot of it is reflected in their games, in things like RPGs and fighting games, and of course the driving games. Now, scenario versus CPU, which is exactly what it is, does what it says on the tin. Practice. So let's go into practice. And let's choose a car. Now, to start with, you've just got a handful of cars. You can unlock a few more. And of course they're Japanese cars. So there you have it. So let's choose this good old one here. Easy to choose. And now, when you're in practice mode, you've got access to all of the car parts. And you've got this Japanese driving enthusiast here who guides you through everything. And so, parts, you press X and it says all parts are ready for installation. So you go into install and you can select all of these different types of car parts. Now, for the petrol heads among you, incidentally, I'm not one of them. I'm not very technical at all. The only thing I know about cars is how to get in there, drive, fill it up with fuel and put a bit of oil in the engine and screen wash. That's my limit. I can just about change a tyre too. But for those of you that are enthusiastic about cars, and if you're petrol heads, this is not bad. So there's a lot to tinker with there. There you go. You've got your different intake. I know, I've just had no clue. Well, exhaust, it pretty much speaks for itself, but it sort of gives you a quick, brief description of what it does. So, okay. Anyway, let's just drive with a normal car. Now you can select your track. Now you've got 3 to choose from. And, yeah, unfortunately, the thing with the track selection in these games, it was always quite, let's say, meagre. There weren't very many. I mean, if you had 3 tracks in a game plus 1 secret one, you know, that was pretty exciting at the time. But anyway, they're all set in Japan, and this one's set at night time. It's the Wangan Highway, if that's pronounced correctly. But let's choose this one for now. Let's go. Actually, you know what? Let's go to the second one, and you can choose your lap counts. Let's do 2 laps and start the game. Now, of course, you've got that brilliant Japanese pop music that I love. And okay, now first of all, let's have a look at a few good points. The game isn't a pig to handle. It's not bad at all. And once you get used to the handling system, it's okay. You can do some pretty good drifts. And it's okay. Plus, once you install all your car parts, your car's handling improves. Now, please excuse the way I'm driving. I'm going to bump into things here, but it's just because I'm reviewing and not really doing my best to play it. Otherwise, I'll have to concentrate too hard. And I won't be able to narrate, because I'm not very good at multitasking. Now, graphics. Okay, they're not too bad at all, are they? They're very bright, very vibrant, very bold, and they're nice and chunky, and they're quite detailed. And despite all that, the frame rate stays smooth. We're talking like 25 frames a second here, 30 frames a second. It's not bad. The car models are a bit basic. There isn't a terrible amount of shading here, but what there is enough. In particular when you race on the courses when night falls, or dusk. Oh, I forgot about the checkpoint timers here. I better be careful then. But anyway, as you can see, it's pretty good. Now, one criticism that was levelled at the game when it first came out, and that I agree with, after having read it on the reviews all those years ago in 96, 97, was that there's not much of a sensation of speed. Now, as you can see on my speedometer, I'm doing close to 110 miles an hour. It's about 106, 107 miles an hour. And it looks like you're doing 40. So there isn't a great sensation of speed, unfortunately. That's the only gripe. Even when you install your go faster parts on the car, yeah, the speed of the game does increase a bit, but you know, not drastically so. And of course there is a day-night cycle. As you can see, the sky is changing colour gradually, as it does in Ridge Racer Revolution and the original Ridge Racer. So you have got different times of day which you can race, and it's not bad. Now, for those of you that have been there, you know this is Tokyo. This is one of the highways there. I've never been. I would love to go, as you know. Maybe one day. But yeah, it's turning to sunset now. We've got that nice orangey tinge to the skies. Now that's pretty much it. Now, when this came out, it did, again, just like the other two games, it did become target of a lot of negative reviews, like, yeah, here's a Ridge Racer wannabe. It's trying to be Ridge Racer. It's not. That's the thing. When I first bought it, first thing I thought, this is not trying to be Ridge Racer. Okay, it might look kind of similar along the lines because you're racing through, you know, a cityscape like you do in Ridge Racer. You've got your day and night cycle, and there's a little bit of drifting here and there, but it's not trying to be Ridge Racer. What this game is, and what it tried to be back then, and what reviewers tended to ignore, was that it's just trying to be Tokyo Highway Battle. It's a chill-out racing game, and I've just run out of time. But yeah, basically, let's do a restart. Tokyo Highway Battle was just trying to be Tokyo Highway Battle. It's just, you know, a nice, relaxing driving experience. It's not sort of tense, it's not exuberant, it's not giving you these, you know, silly high speeds and edge of your seat racing action. It's like a trial and error driving game where you install different car parts and just try your luck. And yes, you do race against other racers. You race against two well-known Japanese drivers, one of them known as the Drift King. So you do tend to race against him, and you win his car if you beat him. And that's all Tokyo Highway Battle was trying to be. It was just trying to be Tokyo Highway Battle. It was not trying to compete with Ridge Racer or Gran Turismo. And so that's why I liked it when I first bought it, because it's just easy to play. You just get in the car and drive. And if you want to race against someone else, you can. You've got to avoid oncoming traffic. And there you have it. So if you are interested in finding yourself a copy of this, and you like driving games, I would. Because it is good. I like it. Very bad drift I just did there. Anyway, well, I hope you enjoyed these rather tame videos. I'll bring you some more very soon. the aim is to get one up at least once a week, or even more often if I can. Mainly PlayStation and Saturn, but I have other systems as well that I can share with you. As soon as I find a game that I think you'll like, I'll stick it up here. And of course, now I do welcome comments. If you wanted to sort of comment below and let me know what you think of any of the games I've reviewed today, I'd be very, very interested to hear from you all, just to hear what you think. And if you're an older retro collector like myself, give me your thoughts on what you thought when it first came out and compared to how you're thinking about it now. It'll be very interesting stuff. Anyway, all I'll say now is thanks for tuning in, and it's good night from me. It's Michael at Retro Direction, and you know where you stand with retro. Ciao, ciao.